Amir and his grandmother stand at the bustling bus stop, awaiting their journey through the city, where each stop will reveal new stories and lessons about the world around them. This morning, Amir stood excitedly next to his grandmother, waiting for the bus. The sun was slowly rising behind the buildings, casting a golden-orange glow on the streets. His grandmother placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and, with a warm smile, said, "Are you ready?" Amir nodded, saying, "Yes, very much." He didn't know exactly what they would experience today, but he knew that any day spent with his grandmother would be special. The old blue bus approaching from down the street was filled with possibilities. Amir glanced around, noticing many different people dressed in various styles, each unique in their own way. His grandmother leaned over and whispered, "Everyone has their own story, Amir. You just have to learn to notice things." The bus stopped with a soft hiss, and Amir and his grandmother climbed aboard. Amir chose a seat by the window, gazing out with excitement. The adventure begins. As the bus moved, Amir noticed how each street, each alley, and each shop had its own story. His grandmother pointed to a small shop and said, "See that old man over there? He always arrives early to open his shop and greet his customers with a smile. His smile brightens the day of many people." Amir looked at the shop. An elderly man with white hair and a kind face was carefully arranging his goods. Amir had never thought that a simple smile could make someone's day better. Inside the bus, Amir watches with wonder as a street musician strums a cheerful tune. His grandmother sits beside him, smiling warmly, reminding Amir of the joy in noticing life's small moments. Ordinary magic. At one stop, a man with a guitar boarded the bus. He wore simple clothes, and his guitar looked a bit worn. The man started to play a cheerful song, bringing smiles to everyone's faces. Amir turned to his grandmother and said, "He plays so well, but why is no one paying much attention?" His grandmother smiled and replied, "Sometimes people are in a rush here, so they don't notice the little things that could make them happier." Then she added, "Ordinary things can be very special, you just have to learn to see them." When the man finished his song, he smiled at Amir before stepping off the bus. Empathy and understanding. At the next stop, a mother with her young child got on. The child looked around with wide, curious eyes, smiling at Amir, who smiled warmly back. His grandmother leaned in and whispered, "Every child sees the world with fresh eyes." She took a small gift out of her bag and handed it to the child's mother. "Sometimes, we all need a bit of kindness, Amir," she said softly. Amir nodded, understanding that empathy was one of the best things he could offer in life. As Amir and his grandmother sit on the bus, they notice a mother and her young child boarding. The child looks around with wide, curious eyes, while Amir smiles warmly, and his grandmother offers a small gift to the mother as a gesture of kindness. Hidden colors. The bus stopped near a park, and his grandmother pointed to the trees and flowers. Pink, yellow, and purple flowers bloomed along the park's edges, while the trees cast cool, comforting shadows across the ground. Amir asked, "Why don't I notice these things when we walk?" His grandmother chuckled and said, "Because we're often in a hurry. But when you sit on the bus, you have time to look." She added, "Everything around you has its own beauty. You just need to take the time to see it." Amir looks out from the bus window in awe at a city park filled with vibrant trees and blooming flowers. His grandmother points out the natural beauty around them, teaching Amir to appreciate the colors and life outside. The last stop. When they reached the last stop, his grandmother said, "Now, look around. All the people you saw, all the little moments you experienced, are parts of this city. It's the people in these small moments that make up the place we live." Amir smiled, realizing that this journey with his grandmother wasn't just a way to pass the time, it was an adventure to discover the world around him. He looked into his grandmother's eyes and said, "Thank you, Grandma. I learned a lot today." His grandmother nodded and replied, "Every time you look at the world with your heart, you'll learn something new." At the last stop, Amir and his grandmother stand side by side, observing the sights and people around them. The grandmother gently points out the different lives and stories unfolding, showing Amir how each person and place contributes to the city's spirit.